You're watching The Cutaway, your inside look to CBS this morning. I'm Adriana Diaz with CNET senior editor Scott Stein. Scott was on CBS this morning talking about, of course, the iPhone 5. What about the extra data that people are going to have to pay for this new iPhone?
Yeah, that's something you have to look into. I mean, 4G LTE is like the move from 3G to 2G that you may have done before, where you're going to have to pay more money, and you may have to pay extras for certain features like calling over FaceTime. So before you make the move, just make sure you understand what that involves, and you'll be using more data more quickly, which also could cost more money.
So does that mean that your actual monthly payment is going to increase, or is it just on a selective basis?
It should increase, and the question of how much depends on what sort of plan you have. It totally varies between AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint, and there are also data sharing plans, and you really should research that because that is the extra cost of the iPhone 5, and the cost of moving to any 4G LTE phone is that element.
Is there one service provider that you think gives the best deal?
I really don't know. I haven't researched all of them now and what they're offering, but they're all a little bit different. I mean, and they also offer slightly different variations. AT&T allows calling and data at the same time, and Verizon and Sprint's iPhone 5s do not. So there are little details like that to keep aware of.
All right, now let's talk about this controversy over Google Maps. Is it right that the iPhone 5 does not have the Google Maps app?
Well, a lot of it was a political battle. You're dealing with Google versus Apple here. And unfortunately, the consumer is kind of left in a frustrating situation now because Google has a superior map application that is no longer, built into Apple's Maps app, and they're sort of starting over with new partners. And you're finding a lot of things that are different and a lot of things that might be really weird and not working. And, hopefully there will be a Google Maps app that will be available so that you'll be able to at least have that option. I mean, Apple's claimed that they're going to be addressing the problem and fixing it, but it's a pretty mission-critical app for most people, and is part of what makes the iPhone an appealing product. So I think that needs to get addressed pretty quickly.
So let's give a little advice to the thousands, millions of people that are online right now in Apple stores across the country. Should they go for the 64 gig? I mean, it seems a little excessive. Or what size do you think is right?
64 gig is excessive, but if you're power using your phone, I have a 32 gig, and I admit I'm a tech editor. I'm a power user. I look at apps all the time, and I'm evaluating them. So I'm filling it up with that and videos. But if you're storing music, I've got 17 gigs of music. Videos can sometimes be a gig a pop, and apps, if you're playing games particularly, those can be up to a gigabyte. So you can chew that up fast. You can certainly delete them, but the 64 gigs, if you're a power user in all three of those things, can fill up faster than you think. But if you have something like an iPad or something else, you split the difference. It depends on who you are. 32 is more than enough for most people. But, again, if you live your life on your iPhone, maybe if you've had a 32 and you filled up, maybe this is time to think about it.
I just pre-ordered the 65, and I think I went a little too far. I got too excited.
See, there might be, maybe usually you tend to fill the space that you have. So,
exactly. That's always the problem. Just look at my closet. Well, Scott, thank you so much for coming on The Cutaway, and we'll see you on our next Cutaway.